They say it's all about rights, but rights can't fix the wrong that we do to God each day. How long can we stand strong? And all I got is one question left. If we turn our backs and spit in his face, is God still gonna bless the USA?
Every February 22nd, we pause to honor George Washington, the father of our country. While most remember his leadership on the battlefield or his presidency, what stands out even more is his character, his humility, faith, and reliance on God's providence. Washington believed, as did our founders, that liberty was not man's invention, but God's endowment. Greetings, Patriots. I'm Perry Greene. Welcome to God in America, where faith and freedom unite. Washington's life is a tapestry woven with evidence of divine protection. One of the most remarkable examples occurred early in his military career at the Battle of Monongahela in 1755 during the French and Indian War. At just 23 years old, Washington rode through heavy fire as British forces fell in heaps around him. He later wrote that by the all-powerful dispensations of Providence, he had survived, though 4 bullets pierced his coat and 2 horses were shot from under him. Years later, a Native American chief who had fought against him told Washington that he believed he was protected by the Great Spirit and could not be killed in battle. The same providential hand would later preserve him at the Battle of Long Island in 1776. Surrounded by British forces on 3 sides and the East River on the 4th, Washington's army was seemingly trapped. But then a sudden fog rolled in, allowing Washington to ferry his entire army across the river to safety without losing a man. Washington himself was the last to board the final boat. Many saw that fog as a miraculous deliverance. Washington didn't chalk those moments up to luck or coincidence. He recognized the hand of God. Psalm 18, verse 2 could easily have been his declaration. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my strength, in whom I will trust. Washington's greatness was not found in his power, but in his submission, first to God, then to principle. When the Revolution ended, many expected him to seize power and become a king. Instead, he laid down his sword and returned to Mount Vernon. King George III reportedly said, "If he does that, he will be the greatest man in the world." And he did. General Washington understood the chain of command. He had been the commander-in-chief under congressional authority and, more importantly, God's. When the war was over, he could relinquish his power. His title did not identify him. His leadership reflected Matthew 8, verses 8 and 9. When Jesus offered to heal the centurion's servant, he balked at allowing the Lord to come under his roof. The centurion answered and said, "Lord, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof, but only speak a word, and my servant will be healed. For I also am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to this one, go, and he goes. To another, come, and he comes. And to my servant, do this, and he does it." As president, Washington frequently invoked God's providence. In his first inaugural address, he said, "No people can be bound to acknowledge and endure the invisible hand which conducts the affairs of men more than the people of the United States." In his farewell address, he reminded Americans that religion and morality were indispensable supports of political prosperity. He warned that if we tried to maintain morality without faith, we were only building on sand. Washington was not a preacher, but he was a man of prayer and principle. His soldiers often found him alone in the woods, kneeling in prayer. One Quaker who stumbled upon him near Valley Forge said, "I heard a voice of supplication. I saw the commander-in-chief on his knees. I knew then that the cause of America was safe." He understood what Psalm 33, verse 12 declares. "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he has chosen as his own inheritance." Washington's leadership was marked by restraint, humility, and conviction. He knew that no republic could survive if its citizens were not virtuous, and virtue could not thrive apart from faith. Patriots, if George Washington were alive today, he'd see a nation blessed beyond measure, but drifting from its moral anchor into all manner of chaos. He'd see Americans selling their souls by pursuing self rather than service and comfort rather than character. Washington's words still ring true. Human rights can be assured among a virtuous people. The general government can never be in danger of degenerating into despotism while there is any virtue in the body of the people. So, what can we do? First, rediscover our dependence on God. Pray like Washington did, not just in crisis, but in daily communion with God. Second, practice virtue in public and private. Integrity is not old fashioned, it's the foundation of liberty, and it must not be forced, it must flow. Third, teach our children that freedom comes with responsibility and that true freedom is rooted in righteousness. Proverbs 14, verse 34 reminds us, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Washington's life teaches us that God still honors the faithful. He raises up leaders who walk humbly, act justly, and depend fully on Him. Our liberty was born in prayer, preserved by providence, and must be sustained by faith. Well, thanks for being with us today. Until next time, Patriots, let's keep the light of providence and patriot faith burning.